And welcome back. And there we go. Third game of the day, Unique versus Raid. Me and Jamada on to another Summoner's Rift, and it seems like it's going to be a good one. Can we look into the standings? I don't know if I'm doing a difficult one on my production, but if you can look into the
You
standings,
mean
not
I think you
updated.
mean I think you mean oh, do you actually want the standings?
Yeah, I want to bring more story into this game.
Okay, okay, do it. Yeah,
Look
yeah.
into Unique and where they are. I mean, the Flung at this point, the way they're showing, alongside with Raid. Raid having a lot of difficulties, but Flung got a Unique with this new logo are looking hell of good. And if they get this game, they could tie up a light side.
Yeah, obviously we just saw Lightside pick up a win, so currently 5-1. If they're able to continue pace, then yeah, there you
Mm-hmm.
go. Think very something changed, but nothing changed at the same time. Yeah. If we see
They would still be second place. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the end of the day,
they'll
they would
still
still
be
be second place.
second, but they're still equal on score, and that's the important thing. And of course, they do have natives right behind them as well. So ensuring that they can keep pace with the top team in the league is definitely very important. And rate a team that have been a little bit up and down, still need to find some consistent form. But we definitely do know that this team is capable of some pretty fun stuff. But for now, I think looking towards the unique side of things, taking that Flung core. I mean, hell, it did say Flung Esports, whilst they are, of course, unique esports club. They've got the core of Flung anyway, so not too far off the reality of it. Shafty go for Rombengi. Rombengi back, of course, uh, over the last couple of weeks. Was subbed out. Oh, had to step down, had a different support in the slot, but back once again on the starting lineup. And excited to see what the Unique Boys bring. Because again, very talented roster. We knew this from the get go. A lot of people, placing this roster even above the natives lineup. In some instances on things like tier lists and such, which tier lists can be meme, but sometimes do hold some kind of relevance. As for the first
Yeah,
time
but
today, we're
not
actually going to
all
see
of
Wukong
them.
banner. Not
I
all
mean,
of them, but
Viper
some of
Rune
them.
does
Oh
some.
yeah, Viper. Yeah, Viper and does a tier
I
list, and
know.
you ignore it. Yeah,
I
so
don't understand
uh,
Viper Rune. I love you, man. I love you, man. I know you're
neither
watching.
do I. No, no, it's fine. You can flame Will. It's all right. After I think I
Oh.
casted him on Thursday. We'll have to see.
So good
But
luck with
uh,
him.
yeah,
Lilia. Okay, finally we get to see the real Bambi in the League of Legends, which she gets picked. And she has such a good clear that the way she can play into those late team fights, this is so good. And this is okay. This is a fast paced champion select.
yeah. But what's kind of worrying about that is now you could potentially on the bottom side run into Nami Lucian or like a
Yeah.
Senna lane as the Ezreal, which that's kind of just gonna suck, right? Senna in lane is just gonna kind of dumps the Ezreal. It's the nature of the matchup. You can half outrange the one-to-one, but also unique. Having gone Lilia first pick, do need to probably lock in one of their AD solo laners, and they are going to do that at the very least. So there's now no threat of that Nami Lucian, but there is definitely a threat of Guffey taking Draven. That is for sure. He's done it on occasion. Will we be treated to it yet again? I mean, he's looking at an Ezreal lane no matter what, even if we see, an engage support come in alongside it, the all-in threat just simply not there. So, looking towards right now, what will they end up doing? They're gonna take up Errol's Cassiopeia because, of course, that is his big thing. Errol, time and time again, we just saw it consistently banned away, and I'm sure he will be very excited to be playing against Unique, of course, ex Flung mid himself. As bans will start to come through, Nautilus being taken off the board. I wonder what the rate bottom lane will look to take up in the support role. They already know what the jungle is, Jawboo, so expect to see Jawboo's pick come in at R4 and then a support at R5. For now, Unique banning away some of the more favorable pairings with this Ezreal. The Karma is the first one to go.
Weird to say it. There's a castle in Portugal that is a one-trick pony of Ezreal. Anifar is not like he's a good player, but he's a one-trick pony of
Oh,
Ezreal, and he's always complaining about this matchup. It's his permanent ban, the Draven. He hates this because you get completely destroyed. And this, to me, if you can pull it off with Goof as well, the one we're talking about, Goof, is going to be menacing because I do believe the way I'm looking into rates, Ezreal should be one of the core components of this team into the late game. And if there's no Ezreal in the late game, you can just get run by a Lilia if she gets some sort of items. So you told us as soon as you pick the Ezreal so early, you allow the counter pick to come in so fast, and that's exactly what we're watching. Even though the composition from Wraith is kind of spicy, what do you think they're going to pick now? I think the jungler should be the
yeah.
priority, and We've seen the bear. We've seen the bear. You can disable those turrets. You can enable those tower dives, but you need to be in lead to do that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? You've got Gangplank on one side of the map, Ezreal on the other side. You've
Hmm.
got a counter pick, kind of, in the Cassiopeia, right? In the 1-to-1, in the Yone matchup. It's definitely a bit of a skill matchup. I've seen it go both ways, to be honest with you. But Cassiopeia, whilst she can be a strong duelist, does need a little bit of time to ramp up before she truly hits that spike. And I feel like Volibear is kind of like a band-aid for the super weak early game that Ray have drafted themselves for on both sides of the map and even effectively in the mid lane. Whereas on the opposite side towards Unique, they have scaling aspects and they also have pretty strong early game setup and as well as setup just general lane priority as well. So I'm really, really concerned for how Raider are going to look to try and pilot this one, as Neos is likely going to get a very favorable matchup in the top side. He's going to pick himself up the Gnar. It's not always something that we see win out 1-to-1 in the into the Gangplank lane, but in many cases, it often does. So shouldn't be struggling up there. So Unique should, in theory, have 3 priority lanes. Maybe they'll lose out in the mid lane, in the early levels, but they also have a very strong 2v2 once the level 6s come online with the sleep and the fate sealed. So I'm kind of concerned for how Rate are going to look to play this in the early game, but the scaling aspect's certainly there. Nothing to be entirely concerned about right now, as actually going to get an Alistar lock in on the final one here for Velocity.
It's an interesting pick coming in for not only because we don't get to see a lot of Alistars lately, but at least it provides you with some sort of CC. It provides you with some sort of disengage as well, because I do believe you need a lot of that. You were thinking, okay, if the Rakan comes in with his ultimate, he's going to charm all of us. We need a way to push him away. And there you go. Alistar is going to take that job. He's going to be the one cleaning up on aisle 5. It's going to be complicated though, because if Draven gets some sort of lead, I don't see this Alistar working as well. And there's a lot of damage, a lot of CC, and a lot of ways to play around this composition from Unique. They certainly look unique. Yes, they do. I don't know. If I'm looking into the champion select, I'm kind of worried for Raid.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just about the early laning phase, right? You've drafted 3 weak-ish early lanes again. Cassiopeia is that kind of asterisk because her scaling in the early game or her skirmishing rather in the early game can be very prominent. But again, it's about hitting those noxious blasts into the swing fans, and that's kind of the main thing where a lot of her power comes from. But again, very mana hungry. If she doesn't have the tier stacked up, it's just not going to be a long-lasting fight. So those are my early concerns for it. Again, the scaling is fine. Once we get to the point where these champions on 2 items onwards, they're going to play the game in most cases just fine because the range of the unique composition relatively short, right? Kind of 3.5, 4.5 really, or four, yeah, no, 3.5 is definitely the apt way to put it. 3.5 melee champions. Ezreal's the only true range champion on that side. Um, or Draven, sorry, is the only range champion on that side. But even then, very short range, and is going to have to operate inside of the ranges of Gangplank barrels of Cassiopeia if he wants to get some of those autos in. So again, all about the early game for Unique. They will scale into the game okay, not as strongly as the Rate side, but again, if they put them down in gold, if they put them down in pressure, it's going to be very difficult for Rate to navigate.
It can be important for Unique to put themselves still on that spot for second or first seed eventually if they can take the head-to-head in the later stages of the split. On the other side though, Raid needs to separate themselves in the middle of the pack. We've seen the middle of the pack in the previous split, during the spring split. Everybody was tied up until the last day. You don't want to go through that risk of a heart attack, I would say, because if you're counting on the other teams to fail for you to succeed, that is not the way you want to do it as a professional player. That's too much on you, and that's too much on us as we jump again into the Summoners Rift. And by the way, Jamada, second Yone of the day. I don't know, but it's kind of sus.
I mean, Yone's definitely been popping up more and more.
Why is that?
Hopefully,
Okay, explain
we've
to
seen it
me
a couple of
someone
times.
that hates him.
So realistically, I'm not really too sure why.
Okay, cool.
Obviously Lilia, and that's just my genuine take. Like he's not inherently gotten stronger post 12-10. In fact, I recall on the LEC there was the Yone and Yasuo composition that G2 ran. And listening to the cast on that one, Cadro had been speaking with Leader, of course, Leader, very big, like melee assassin player. So Yone and Yasuo in his champion pool. And quoting from there, Leader said, these champions can, in most cases, only really function in pro play, at the very top flight level, rushing things like Blazer and King for a really, really strong early spike. That's about it. That's why maybe in scrims we see a lot more, or on stage because of scrims we see a lot more Yone that's being picked up on that front. But we don't even really see the Blade of the Ruined King too frequently. At least, in the ERLs, it feels like it's still that old traditional shield bow into Infinity Edge combo that gets picked up.
Mhm.
Um, but again, with things like the Lilia, it makes sense. But we haven't really seen a huge rise of AP junglers per se on this patch, right? It's mostly just the Lilia that remains a bit of an outlier. Maybe to the Talia, but again, still kind of untested. It feels like on 12-11, not too many teams are willing to put her in the jungle as frequently as they were on 12-10. So yeah, I think he's just a champion that perhaps people feel is able to get to his scaling points a little more easier. Just because the games are a little bit slower, it allows him to farm out, and he has obviously very strong skirmishing once he hits level 6.
And if I may ask you, what is the interaction between his movement when he unseals his soul, let's call it this way, on the miasma? Are you allowed to use the E
Uh,
when the
so
miasma is upon
because
you?
because I don't really play into Cassiopeia that much,
Uh-huh.
I'm not too sure if you can snap back if you're on the miasma.
No, you have to step back, but can you step out of it because it's
No, 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 no,
considered
no,
a
no, no,
dash?
no, because
Okay,
the E
okay.
is considered a dash. Yeah, the E is.
So
Is
regardless of what happens, you're forced to go back. I don't think there's a little
No, but that's the
interaction.
thing. So the way that Soul Unbound works as
Uh-huh.
a bit of a level 1 trade, Velocity is going to lose a lot of HP actually because of where he is.
Maybe even his life is if he doesn't flash away.
I don't
Oh,
know.
what? This is illegal. This
I
is
can
really
I can
complicated.
hear the all chat going.
Can you?
Yeah.
Because I don't have sound, so yeah. Because
I imagine I I imagine someone was like, guys, question mark, like this is an illegal pause for sure. Well, not by the rules, but like it is for those that don't know, general courtesy is, we don't pause in the middle of fights. This is a bit awkward, and I've actually seen the all chat. And it's pretty funny. It is quite literally what I said. It is just 2 question marks and guys. Like, yeah. So it seems like Hoyes is currently having issues with his monitor. Now, Hoyes isn't the one that's being caught out.
let me
So
turn
the
on my
pause
light. Give me a second. There you go.
is significantly less suspect. But yeah,
It's a complicated maneuver, so we need to look into what is happening, and eventually we'll get some notification coming in from production to understand what happens in this sort of situation. Obviously, the flash is still available for Alistar, but I do believe the X is already on the air. So regardless of where you do it or what you do, I think you're going to still perish, and it's going to be a first blood for Draven, alongside with the cash in. Even though it's a really small cash in, every sort of gold at level 1,
I mean,
it is useful.
Draven kills are worth 50 more gold flat.
Mhm.
That's just how Draven works.
Plus,
And
I
he's
think
already
he
got a
at
couple of
least got a
stacks. Yeah,
10
he's got like 10
stacks.
stacks or something, right?
It's
Like,
something.
yeah, it's better than nothing.
So let's see what happens. And this is what we talked about. Obviously, you have to have the combo to disengage Draven. You need to push him away and even knock him up if he needs to come back. This way, it's kind of shaky. And the Ezreal cannot do anything. And there you go, Velocity. Oh, Velocity got the flash, so the X was not on the air. I apologize for being kind of blind. But yeah.
Yeah, and apparently, as we come back out, he is safe and sound. So, yeah. Pause diff, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Bit of a strange time to pause, but Velocity does walk out of it with his life, so nothing to really add there.
It's going to be an engage. Eden trying to get something out of the Cassiopeia. The damage is there, and that's exactly what we're talking about. I don't know how this composition goes. I don't know how this fight goes, but it doesn't seem like it's good for the Yone.
Yeah, no, and I mean, this is the thing, right? Again, Cassiopeia, while she does, she is a scaling mage, right? If she hits those Noxus Blasts, those Twin Fangs hit like a damn truck, and you saw it in that 1v1 there. Eden just doesn't have the fancy feet to dodge out on them, looking for the all-in with the lethal tempo, and unfortunately just doesn't quite have it in him, unfortunately. in terms of the damage. Didn't drop the ignite, knew it wouldn't be lethal.
Let's just hope it's going to be a difference from now on. It's a slippery little snake, as on the top side is going to be the Nod jumping away, but the turret is going to connect. It's underneath the turret, takes one shot. He doesn't flash away, but he puts himself in harm's way, and he's going to die in the process. Lilia, you just saw him getting a kill, going downwards, but there you go.
Lilia not able to find anything in this instance, but did full clear or got most of the jungle camps and that skull crab, so it's not going to be feeling too upset about not being able to help his top laner, because who cares about top lane?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. There's Eden just looking to get this wave under, and I'm not sure. I think he recast Soul Unbound right before the miasma came in, but I do think I don't think Eden can actually snap back beforehand. Seems like that's how the interaction works, because again, if you are stunned, if you're rooted, you cannot snap back to your body until the duration of that CC ends. I imagine the miasma is coded in a very similar way.
Let's see if we get that interaction as we go along in this game. 2 kills in favor of Raid Gaming, something that we were not expecting. Velocity comes into the mid lane. That's a perma CC, a Rotten Bangi. He's capable of moving away. The poison is not connecting, as it all was trying to get another kill. This could be a really important lead in favor of Raid that want to get this game so badly for the 3-2.
Yeah, definitely do need it. Unique. A tough opposition, but right now in the mid lane, it has been all going in favor of Raid. And this is what, you know, we kind of expected to see, right? As a... Oh, Guff is in a bit of a position here, actually. I just realized where they were.
He got 2 long swords. Is this enough? He's putting himself near the turret. He's going to flash. He's going to get to the Draven Axe, but Ols stay strong at the last possible second. He wanted to get one additional one. But there you go. 3 kills in favor of Raid. Stacks going down the drain as well.
Yeah,
Jamada.
This is the thing that I want to say. Imagine if Guffey managed to find a way to put an exhaust in a meaningful manner to ensure that he could actually find that 2v1. So close to making that one happen, but isn't going to quite be able to find it in the outplay, and will give over his life. Eden was almost the recipient of a bad gank, because the bowling ball's going to help him shove out this lane, and Shafty's actually going to cover already a level up on his mid laner. Oh, I take that back. For some reason, I saw that as Shafty was level 6. Not sure why. Both level 5. But you can see Errol just doing a great job of holding the wave in that position, just because he knows Eden not having flash means that whilst he isn't level 6, he's not going to have an out. If he gets caught with one or too many noxious blasts, you can very much get chased down, even at that HP threshold, because you can just always try and ult him, try and catch him off guard. That's done. Whilst by many, it's typically very easy to react to Cassiopeia ultimate, sometimes Yone's abilities do kind of have him, forward facing. Like, for example, he did get stunned there, but snapped out of the CC. Don't think, he was going to get out of that one, but Miasma comes down a bit late. Yeah, and Q dash comes over the wall.
It is a clean escape coming in from Eren, and apparently he's going to stay a little bit longer. He wants to get that farm. Maybe trying to get those Zerker Greaves or Boots for himself. That is going to help him on this fight. Ignite is still available for a roll, so maybe doesn't want to get this close to the snake. And that's the thing, as a Yone, you want to get close to the snake, but can you afford to do so? Let's see how the match goes. This is an interesting match to study and to understand the advantages and disadvantages for each of these champions.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see kind of more of what we've been seeing from Raid, though. Playing through the mid lane, playing in the 2v2 in the mid jungle. And more or less just keeping Eden and Shafty down. But here's the thing, they have access to their level 6s, so this is kind of the point where you'd expect Yone and Lilia to have a lot more, skirmishing power. But the issue is Errol's already level 8. He is, at the very least, a full level up on Eden. And that is going to be a very difficult mountain to overcome. For now, we have seen Eden have pretty promising Yone performances already this split, so Hopefully, for his sake, we'll be able to find one here, even if the early game isn't going his way. But Rate, very comfortable. Picked up the Herald. Yes, they'll lose out on the Dragon. But that Herald, expect to try and see them sort of slingshot, I would imagine, Errol even further ahead.
Something that I want to bring in, it's exactly as we saw in the previous game. Two champions going for the tier, going for the late game on the team that has the advantage. And in paper, this is like a deal. Okay, you got this. And meanwhile, I talk about it, and Nulto is going to be dragged across the floor, get stunned, but the orange is going to keep him healthy. Did you eat any fruit today, Jamada? I mean, you gotta do it if you want to keep yourself healthy, even though I know you don't.
I drink loads of water. No,
that's a good way of. Do you like my shoes? Yeah, I do my nails. Well, nothing to do with the other one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I keep healthy. I hit my cardio every day. Drink a lot of water. How much water do you drink a day, Archer?
2 to 3 liters.
Good man.
I mean, have you seen the amount of screamings I do?
Yes, true.
I would be dead by now if I didn't drink a lot of water, man. Oh, you want to go, but the fight is still sealed. What? And all, they're now running away. The Ignite is ticking, but Eden is going back to the underworld. What was that?
It's messy. Eden just doesn't have the lethal to 100 to 0 arrow like that, and Draven Ultimate goes wide. He's going to be pulled back. I don't think it's going to hit Cassiopeia on either way in. It definitely looks very close, as Shafty is just going to eat up this wave, and mid lane is going disastrously for UniQ right now. 0-4 and kills, down 2,000 gold as well. I actually don't think Errol had to move, but just wanted to go slightly further back. Gets hit by the bowling ball after he cancels the recall. And yeah, Errol just winning out in the 1v1. Plain and simple. And this is why I said, right? It's a skill matchup, but let's be real, Cassiopeia does have a bit of a tendency to just absolutely munch through health bars if those Noxus blasts coming in. Has the tier stacking up already halfway through. Has the entirety of her Leandries as well now. And that is just something that I don't feel like UniQ are going to be equipped to deal with for a long while yet. And now I want to see Ray on the opposite side of this just absolutely abuse the advantage they have in the mid lane now. Try and get Cassiopeia out of lane, or at the very least break this entire tower with the Herald. One or the two. Try and push your advantage even further.
Leandros is finished for a Cassio so early in the game. Alongside with the tier, it's a flash engage. Oh, his soul has to go back eventually. He's ticking time, but he's a ticking bomb. I don't think they're going to take any plates whatsoever. They do have the Herald. If they can push this wave a little bit faster, maybe they can chime in a few, 2 plates at least. But Errol needs to hit the turret if he wants to push his in. He gets the Conqueror stacking in. I think Lilia alongside with the Rakan is more than enough to push them far. Now, this is exactly, thank you so much, man. This is exactly what I want to focus. Ezreal has been alone and farming on the bot side, gets himself the Essence Reaver, but on the other side, if there's no action, Goofy is just stacking. Eventually, Wraith have to deal with this. Either they kill him, or they die in the process, and they give a lot of gold to this Raven.
Yep, 180 stacks at the moment. It's a lot of gold for a Draven to get, and I mean, it's a... Huh.
There's a fight happening. Two-shot barrage comes in. Shafty gets way too low. Both of them fall asleep. Wake up, and they wake up to slap the deer. And the deer goes down. Eden seems like he's going to share the same fight, but he's capable of just dashing away. Rotten Bangi, I don't think is going to be as lucky. Oh, Crash comes down the thunder as Eden now trying to look for the trade, trying to look for the shield. The true damage comes in and finally gets himself the kill.
That was 2 huge shutdowns. I want to see how much Eden is about to base and spend, because, yeah, 1.4k off 2 kills. That's going to put him right back in the game. He could almost have shield bow, yeah, like 2 more bases or so. Maybe 1 more, and he's going to be all right. Has really put him back in the game. Really want to know what exactly happened there, because Cannon Barrage was exchanged as well in the mid lane. Eden still finds himself 2 levels down, but the gold that he just slungshot himself back into the game with is absolutely massive.
Remind yourself that even though with 2 big shutdowns, he's still 500 to 600 behind. That's how far he was.
Yeah, so it seems like it was just Rotten Bengi coming in with the ultimate, with the knock-up, and Unfortunately, Errol isn't able to lock anybody down with that petrifying gaze, and now the sleep comes in. Shafty gets hit by the Ezreal ult, and I just don't think he's expecting the Raid members to come out of the sleep just as quickly as they did. Wanted to get one more Q off, but just doesn't have the HP to stand up to, a flash auto and a W from Julbo, and Julbo just gets a little bit too over eager. Eden steps forward with the Soul Unbound, just cuts him where he stands. That's a pretty free shutdown for him to pick up off the back of what was a very, very rough laning phase. All of a sudden, in the next couple of minutes, he will have access to his shield bow, and once he gets that, that's kind of that unlocked potential moment for most Yones in their game. Once you get that additional shield, the life steal, just going to feel really good. The crit chance as well. Sat at that nice 50. Just puts you in a very, very strong power point. But for now, Rate looking towards this dragon. It was UniQ that picked up the first one. Now it's going to be a dragon apiece for the first time to date. Guffey not going to be too fussed about that as the jungler moves toward the mid lane.
He's kind of hungry, gets himself away with the dash. Perfect moment. And look at this, every single time they want to execute anything, Hoyes from the bot lane gets a true shot barrage, so the communication is there for the ganks, but the rewards are not there as Hoyes is going to get charmed in the end. It's going to be a cash in. Show me the money. Show me the money. He just bought in Kraken, by the way.
Yeah, he just based and bought a Kraken. He just cashed in on about 250 something stacks, so Guffey is absolutely chilling right now. That's boots, that's a BF sword if he wants it. It's absolutely anything he wants. Cannon Barrage is going to come in to just clear out the wave and buy a little bit of time on the bottom side. So that means that tower won't go down just yet. But still, that is a huge amount of gold for Draven to magically pick up. Now Luto in the 1v1.
Oh, the Gnar! He couldn't feel the kill. It was like, no, I'm the one going to pay the price, so I have to back off. I have to be the one backing off. Flashes away. In the process, this means that Nulto stays alive. Another day to tell the story. He gets himself the Trinity Force right now. Meanwhile, the Petrifying Gaze comes in.
Whoa.
What? Shafty used it on the wrong way. The Ignite is taken, but it's not going to burn him down. Shafty getting way too low. He wakes up it all, but it all is comfortable right now. Jubal looking for the Bambi, but I don't think this bear has enough movement speed to get even close to the Lilia right now, as Shafty's just cruising along, trying to stack it up the Conqueror, maybe to try and poke down the bear even further beyond. Jubal finally smashes it down. Velocity, well, it's not that speedy right now. It doesn't have a lot of velocity to chase down the Lilia. She's just zooming.
Yeah, she's just zooming. I love the build from Shafty. He sees 3 melee champions. Cassiopeia obviously kind of like medium ranged. Just says, you know what? Going for the Riftmaker, going for Conqueror. I'm playing for these long extended fights. I'm going to kind of drain tank. I wouldn't even mind seeing Shafty go for, something super defensive as a second item, Force of Nature, Spirit Visage even, just to go for the Drain Vampers. Yeah, just catches out Hoyes. Knock up into Charm. Make sure that he stands in between where the shift will be. And Ultimate comes in, execute 300 plus 663.
Oh boy, that's...
He got one... Oh, he's dead again.
He's got another one, even though the cash out is maybe a little bit small. It's still a cash out nonetheless. We talked about this. And he's going for the Lethal Temple Draven. He's going for the Kraken Slayer Draven. So regardless of what happens, he's going to deal damage, true damage. He's going to get a lot of attack speed. And if he's able to juggle those axes perfectly, we might see something menacing, and someone has to deal with him. So either Julbo going into the backline alongside with Velocity, or even Nulto trying to nullify what Draven is building. But let's understand what happened yet again.
So I feel bad because we just watched Hoyes die in a replay, and now he's got to die again. As looked like 274 for the kill, because that's Hoyes' second death in a row, and 108 on top of that. So not too shabby. As Eden, now that he has that shield bow, is perfectly fine wave clearing in the mid lane, and is actually at even footing in the gold department now. After those 2 shutdown kills, and on the bottom side, it's a 1k gold lead for Guffey, the passive, effectively all of that gold lead between 2 AD carries, but there's an engage here.
Velocity wants to fight it just to knock them up and maybe see if they can go their own way. That's more than enough to slow down the fight. UniQ still comfortable right now, and as you told us, Yone staying on par with the Cassiopeia. And this is interesting because yet again we see a team with a big lead, going for the tiers, going for the late game. And then slowly they start bleeding. Slowly they can fix it. It's more than ever.
Solo kill, topside. You know, I feel like we're having so many random isolated deaths today. Like, to the point where normally we're just hovering over something that we're talking about that's super important. And even our, like, I don't think I've seen, no, I'm not going to call Reed out. But I don't think I've seen Reed miss more than 1 kill in a single day. And I think this is really speaking how random these deaths actually are. As
what is happening on the bot side?
Might not be random, yeah.
He got it. Velocity is going to tank. He's trying to buy enough movement to get the Fate Seal. Well, cooldown is not even going to get proc. Just animation is more than enough. But let's take a look into what happened into the top lane with the Nard versus the GP.
Yeah, so seems like it was just a chase down, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, also just trying to clear out the wave, eating a lot of damage. Barrel gets cancelled out. I don't think it would have really mattered as we come back into game and Herald was dropped in the mid lane. 2 towers end up falling. And there was even the tower on the top side, I believe, which was taken in the same breath. So a lot of gold just swung into Unique's back pocket. But Ray still, in the grand scheme of things, only 1,500 gold behind. But honestly going to feel okay playing this game state right now. I don't think they have too much to worry about. Because again, remember, they are the side with the 3 scaling lanes. They've got 2 tier champions and a gangplank. Team fighting is never really going to be that big of an issue, though I do potentially fear for some of their engage options, right? Velocity kind of has to find flank angles, or it's got to be frontal engage, front, flash, headbutt, pulverize kind of things, or catching out unique members. If it's not that, they're just going to have to be effectively reacting to the engages of Unique, which, to be fair, are fairly limited in their own right. Shafty Flash, Sleep, Ron Bengi on the Rakan. They can try and lock down Eden if he does go in, but I feel like Eden, he's playing this game right, it's just never ever going to be the primary engage for Unique unless he finds a really good angle. So I think Great just going to be cruising until they feel comfortable to fight. And right now, Errol hits 2 items, Hoys hits his Power Spike, Mirror Mana with the Essence Reaver. It's just Gangplank who maybe needs to hit a second item after just hitting level 13.
So needs to run away from Eden at this point. He does have damage as a GP, but it's not enough. Right now, he does have himself the Cloak of Agility. Nard is also popping with the Black Cleaver coming in with wing movement speed, so that item is going to allow him to zoom. Meanwhile, Shafty, I was wondering, he's probably going for the Force of Nature, but it does seem like he's deviating a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, to see what he's going.
I didn't actually see his inventory before the Kindle Gem, if he sold something or what, but yeah, that Kindle Gem can go into quite a few items. I think it still goes into Cosmic Overdrive, which we see on occasion with the Riftmaker build. Of course, Spirit Visage is the other big one.
I was thinking about it.
That's kind of it. And like I said, I would love to see a more defensive build here. I think you've got Conqueror and Riftmaker for the healing. Your base damages are honestly high enough. Even after the nerf on 12-11, I think you can very easily go for it. Play the long con with your damage. It's not really going to fall off as much as you'd perhaps think. Now, sit on that Kindle Gem and hopefully we get that tank build. It would definitely be very obnoxious for Rate to deal with, but at the end of the day, we've also seen more of those AP-orientated builds come out time and time again. Goffey has 2 items, has that Bloodthirst up already, as Neos is going to eat the Cannon Barrage, and that wave is going to dissipate. Again, Rate having to expend more resources to clean up some of the missteps in lane assignment.
Have to clean up those moments on the bot side, but GP is there, not as well. He's going to take the fight. I don't think Nuto can fight this one. Nuto is going to be nullified yet again by the Nard. Hoys stacking it up. He has 2 items, so it should be awakening for the Ezreal, but Goof doesn't even care. BT alongside with Kraken? Nah, not even close.
Yeah. So I want to turn everybody's attention to Shafty's inventory, because he actually has an Anathema's Chains of all items. This is definitely an interesting take. I want to know who he's bound it to. My assumption would be Errol.
Cassio. Yeah.
Yeah, my assumption would be Cassio, right? I don't think it says it in the description. I
Yeah,
think
you have to click on Cassio,
click
yeah.
through all of the champions. My best guess is Cassio. It wouldn't really be anyone else, yeah.
Yeah, there
so,
you go.
This is an SOFM level build, to be honest with you. But, hey, I wouldn't be surprised to see it honestly work. I'm always down for experimenting. Well, it's no you know, it's just flat health and ability haste, which to be fair, the haste is going to feel pretty nice.
But also it amplifies the CC that Errol is going to take. And that's not something you want as a Cassio when you see Anar, when you see the sleep as well, and even the charm. So some things are not good, and this is one of them.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely something that you're going to need on the unique side because this Cassiopeia is so strong. A lot of priority being put on, you know, putting down the Cassio to ensure that she can't really get much breathing room here, as Julbu is actually going to cover Errol on this push, maybe expecting more members of Unique to show up, but it's just Eden up here with Shafty all the way down towards the jungle entrance itself. But you can definitely see the focus is starting to shift towards this Baron, even though Dragon spawning in 40 seconds time.
For the first time today, Jamada, it's not going to be an egg stack dragon. So finally we get rid of the curse. It's going to be the cloud one. Raids so far have one of those. So Soul for this game is going to be a complicated one. Mega Knight is available, so this means that you're going to get slammed against the wall. Black Cleaver completely stacked up. One more Q, leaving him solo. Velocity is there, but oh, nah.
A little bit too far back. Eden is dead.
He is dead, even though he has to go back. I don't think his soul is going to meet his body, as the Maker is going to meet him. 2-5 at this point with the Wit's End, but this is kind of a big window. But Shafty is there to try and close it.
Shafty is there to try and close it. Anathema's chains on Errol here. Finds the sleep.
But where's the follow-up? Good cover coming in from Jobo. Not allowing anybody to go close to the sleeping teammate. And this time it seems like it's going to be unique. Starting the Baron, just to tease the Baron to see if they have any sort of vision on the other side, to see how they react, to see how Wraith is going to approach this one. As Rottenbangi is just going to move away from disengage. And without it all, well, they cannot do anything at all. As the blue buff is still not there. And the dragon is alive, but there you go. The attention that the Cloud Drake deserves, I would say.
Yeah, not really too much priority being put on the Cloud Dragon per se. It's more of a second thought, more than something that teams really are going out of their way to take down. But where they say, hey, there's a white dragon here. It gives us a little bit of stats. Let's take it. And we'll pick that one up fairly happily. The extra slow resistance. Not going to feel too bad to have, at the very least. Some of these spells. Again, it's no Infernal. It's no Hex Tech, certainly. So I don't really feel like Wraith are going to be too pressed about it. Or rather, unique, I beg your pardon. But we saw there, at that fight, Shafty slept the Cassiopeia. But again, you have to remember how this Anonymous Chains works. You have to be near the target for the CC duration to be increased. Yeah. And again, because of the way that Lilia's play patterns kind of work, when you know, sleep, especially one target, and if it's a target as fed as Cassio, you're going to walk away from the Cassio to, you know, let her fall asleep and then set yourself up for more damage. I actually wonder how frequently the Anatemas itself is going to get that CC duration down, but you do have to remember, of course, having chained Cassio, she's going to take less damage per percentage. I think it actually just is still like 15, 20, and also just getting solo kill, by the way. But it's a trade. All right.
But there you go, Collector.
Yeah. 5%. As the execute comes in. And also, will happily take that 600 gold shutdown, especially considering how rough this side lane has been for him.
Okay, I was just checking to make sure that I was correct on what I was going to talk about. It's 30% of reduced damage from Anatomus. And she only needs to be 700 Teemos away from you. So even though you can sleep, you can kite close by and allow that to come in. But yeah, it's kind of complicated to navigate through that. So it's a big question mark from Shafty if he's going to be capable of doing so. Because you invested a lot. So obviously you want to get some return out of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at that point I would have maybe liked to have seen that Force of Nature like I called out, but Force of Nature doesn't necessarily give you haste. This gives you haste and damage reduction against the most fed member of the team. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I think it's probably still fine. I'm not going to critique it like it's an objectively bad purchase, but you can definitely have it. Definitely has its pros and cons at the very least. As now it looks like Shafty will be going towards that Frozen Heart. So an item that is definitely a little more familiar in many Lydia's build paths, especially with the Riftmaker angle. A Unique with some mid lane priority can actually burn this Baron down fairly quickly. Low percent HP and 2 AD carries effectively, right? Yone and Draven. It's going to be spotted out, however. And they will just step away.
Well, curious interaction. The fact that the Baron steals away armor and magic resist and two-shot barrage alongside with first strike, they effectively gave more money to Ezreal by being near the Baron pit. So at least that's something in favor of Voice, as Eden is still trying to fish, but I don't think any fish is going to take that one. The bait is not there. The barrels are starting to hurt a bit.
Oh!
And that is the perfect engage. The Fade is still alongside with the Cannon Barrage. Everything is going downtown. And it seems like UniQ finally get themselves in the position they want. Look at Eden with all that shield. As Nultu, he's still trying to kite it out. Double kill coming in for the Pirate. A double sleep. And Goof is looking for the shutdown. The barrel doesn't need any damage on Goof. And at this point, it's going to be UniQ with the lead on the fight. They lose 2 in the process, but they can still push the turret.
It's a 2 for 2, but the issue is Errol is so damn strong for rate, and it means that UniQ are going to be able to push up in the mid lane here. They're going to break open the base at the very least. Don't know if they'll be able to get the inhibitor in the 3-3, but they're committing the teleport. Seems like they're going to actually go for it, because Jorbu maybe overstepped a little bit, losing a lot of HP. Same for Velocity. Nis is doing so much work here for them to be able to pick up this inhibitor, and they're going to do just that.
Hewis doesn't even care, he just goes in, goes for the throat. He's more than comfortable with this push, 8 to 12, but at the end of the fight, it seems like UniQ are starting to build up a lead. If we could have like the momentum meter, that would certainly be in favor of UniQ right now.
Oh yeah, definitely so. As Baron, an afterthought potentially of UniQ, but would definitely be overreaching a little bit. I feel like Ray are about to find something, but this is how Rottenbengi finds the flank angle. Velocity is covering one side, but he doesn't have vision on the other. And it just means Rottenbengi just gets the long wraparound, and the carries here, not expecting it. Fate Sealed does connect. And, I mean, somehow, I don't know how Errol managed to get his Zonias off. Because even on the HUD, it seemed like he was still CC'd, but gets the Petrifying Gaze off, and that enables Rottenbengi to be picked up, and some of the turnaround to be had by the Rate side. But now, it's UniQ in the river, here first. Rate have the ability to try and contest this, but they got to get through the choke first.
A choke that is not passable. The gates are closed, and Julbu is going to be the focus now. He's trying to run away, but his fate is sealed. It's going to be a double fate sealed as Shaft is still running about.
Looking again.
Look into the Draven. There's nothing they can do to stop those. It's going to be the Lilia and the Draven controlling the entire team fight as Holes is still trying to kite it away. The Mystic shots are landing, and that's more than enough. And meanwhile, Nulto has the shot, has the killing shot as the Bambi goes. And just like in a movie, it seems like Bambi is alone.
You know, I said that Errol is the strongest member here for Rate, but Hoyes and Nulto are putting in so much work on either side. Oh, shot, that's rough. But, I mean, Rate, honestly, just props rather, for standing up in these team fights, especially after that team fight in the mid lane. It looked really rough. Now they're going to try and start up this dragon. Now Shafty's alive, but I just don't know they're going to be able to make it in time. Making his way over. Vulnerable's going to connect, but I think just going to give it over. Baron gets picked up by Rate. Everybody but Errol. And even though UniQ deny the soul away, they lose the fight and the Baron, and now Rate can maybe look to pressure some lanes off the back of that.
32 minutes in, and still kill lead in favor of Raid. But if you look into the gold, if you look into the state of game, the base as well, it's not a lead anymore. Regardless of what happens, Goof and Shafty are a menace to deal with. But if you give enough time to Hoyles, if you give enough time to Nulto as well as GP right now, this is going to be a little bit rough. It's the G... Well, as M-Test would say, it's the GP of the late game, and you cannot deal with him.
It's the GP.
GP, yeah.
It's the Swedish accent, man.
I love him.
Yeah, it's great, but yeah, and also putting in again so much damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually topping the charts above Errol at this point, as Eden should be able to take this tower even with the cannon barrage coming in. 600 gold will go into his back pocket. Will he commit to the side lane? Remember, this is a TP-less Yone. Has the ignite. No one's here to match him, but now you can see on the minimap, Multo will reset, has teleport, but I wonder if Eden can actually 1v1
Oh,
diving. I mean, I feel like he's strong enough, and look at the minimap.
it's
Because
not a 1v1. Oh, he's going back. The battle is dead. He's going to take the battle as soon as he stopped back. And the shield bow is more than enough to keep him alive. 4 members on the bot side. Nobody rotating from the other side. Raid finally getting the recall to go into the base. It's going to be channeling coming in from Eden. Bengi is there, but look at the top side. It's going to be 2 waves, I believe, collapsing into the turret. I don't think it's enough to be relevant, at least like half HP. That could be it. But look at the way Raid are playing, the way they're rotating. They're looking for objectives. They're trying to use that Baron as well as they can. Only Errol doesn't have the Baron so far, so T2 is the big objective.
But still, that was definitely a net win for UniQ. They got the bottom side tier 2, and they broke some of the tempo from Raid's Baron. They forced them to reset. Even though Raid do come back out and pick up that mid lane tier 2, it's still a tower for tower. In a Baron map state, you definitely don't feel happy with the trade in most cases. So Raid gonna look to siege up on this top side again. Not quite as far as the alcove, but you know, the tier 2.
I was
But
looking
again,
like, is this a TP that is going to happen? That was a bait. That was a bait. Velocity getting baited as well. He's forced to use his ultimate. They don't even chase the meat. The meat is kind of rough right now, so they're going to let it slide. No objective so far on the map, but this could be sold in favor of Raid if they're capable of securing the map, securing the positioning as well, because they have a team to secure position, but they have to do it now.
they really do. See what they can get done. Let's Raid go back to base. UniQ have the opportunity here to actually set up shop quite well. If we toggle the vision, I mean, Raid are now gonna, it seems like, take control of the area and slowly push their vision line up, but there was nothing there for them beforehand. If the feel UniQ maybe could have held that position on the map, but they're gonna yield it, and they're gonna start jostling over the mid lane wave instead. They're gonna have to advance to that anyway. 30 seconds until the dragon still spawns up, and now Raid will be the first ones into that river, as Bengi is gonna have to unfortunately leave that ward. Not pick that up for himself. Raid firm control of the river and its entrance, and nice from UniQ trying to adapt here, but the issue is they might just get pincered.
They're going to get pincers, yes they are. And look at GP is going to use the ultimate on Eden. Eden is getting so low. Meanwhile, Shafty immediately on danger control. He's trying to clean up by taking the enemy wave. So they're not allowed to push in, but still, look at the dragon. This is going to be Soul.
Yeah, and it looks like they're just going to give it up. They feel like they don't have the map state to actually contest it. Going towards the top side, I mean, it's definitely an interesting trade. See how this works out for them, because I think they want to siege it outright. Recalls are a little bit late from some of the Raid members, to be honest with you, though, so maybe there's something they can make do with. But much of this wave can, yeah, just be cleared out with the True Shot Barrage and the barrels, so UniQ give over the soul, but what else will they get?
Going for the trap, but it's a trap yet again on the Alistar. They deal a lot of damage. They might be able to secure this one. No, they don't. GP is there. Finally approaches. The Petrifying Gaze is going to take down one of the key important members. Meanwhile, on the backline, Velocity is going way too low. And there we go. Goof with the drive and getting all that critical damage. The slow is perfect, but they cannot have enough space to follow it through. Regardless of that, Hoist, the Ezreal, the wave clear is no longer there.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Multo does have the barrels, but right now it just seems like there's no more siege because the towers are gone. Second inhibitor goes down for UniQ, and they give up the soul, but they make it worth their while. They get 2 inhibitors off the back of it. But the issue is, will Raid play the long game here? Will they try and chase them down? 40 seconds until the Baron. It would really pay them heavy dividends if they did. And it seems like they are just very slowly gonna do just that, but it seems like the call will just be to turn around eventually. But here's the thing now, it's going to be Raid that will have control, yeah, again, of another neutral if they really want it. But have they gone a little bit too far?
They want to fish for something, Fate sealed, but Eden goes straight up on Velocity. And that is a key important target that UniQ just lost, allowing Jumok to go into the backline. It's Goop. Goop used the flash to chase for the kill, so he doesn't have it to survive. Too short barrage comes in, but that's a barrel that goes on the Gnar. And this is an easy kill for Raid. This could be it for them to try and take the banner that is going to spawn in 1 second.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond that, they could even maybe go for the game. It's just Shafty and Bengi. Eden, Guffey, Neas, they're all dead for 40 seconds. They have a wave. They might not need the Baron, but they're going to clear out these supers very, very quickly. And these towers will shred. I think this is it. I think this is the game. Raid are finally Gonna take down UniQ. It's been a very slow, sloggy game, but they're gonna make it work. They're going for the tower. The towers are off.
The towers are off, and look at Rakan trying to buy as much time as they can. The first turret goes down, the second one is slowly but surely going down as well. Shafty trying to buy more time alongside with the support. The respawn timer for Diana is there, but the Nexus is no longer there as he responds. And Wraith are going to take their third victory out of UniQ.
Yeah, and I mean, UniQ just looked really scattered in a lot of those team fights. It felt like there was only really one really convincing team fight where they had Rottenbengi find that flank. That was about it. Beyond that, we spoke about, the early concerns we had for the rate composition, right? The side lanes may not have the best of times, and we saw that Nias had pretty firm control of this the top side in that. We saw Guffey starting to slowly, well, eventually quickly snowball out of control, but Errol on the Cassiopeia was able to find those 1v1s onto Eden, and I have to really say, Eden, very confusing trying to take some of those 1v1s, getting hit by so many of those Qs. It's a skill matchup that you don't really have to flip because you had such positive side lane states, but because he does, Errol has a really good time in the mid lane, and Ray as a team are able to use him as a bridge of strength to get to those scaling points for Milto, for Hoys on the Ezreal, and they're able to take over team fights.
An important game coming in hot for Raid, while UniQ now are a little bit more distant from that first seed dream. Let's see what happens as soon as we talk with them to understand how the game went. I'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere.